Welcome back to Hannity. Following another major terror attack in Europe, the world remains on edge, and the Trump presidency couldn't come at a more critical time for the country. Joining me now with reaction is former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani. Mayor, thank you for being here. A lot going on in the world. It's a scary place lately.
Well, you know, it's been this way really for the last year. San Bernardino was about a year ago, remember, right before Christmas. Since San Bernardino, we've had more radical Islamic terrorist attacks than at any time since September 11. The number is beginning to become almost exponential. And I think some of it has to do with the fact that we just haven't faced up to the fact that they're at war against us. I think somebody today in, I think it was in Germany, said, we've got to recognize they're at war against us. Yeah. So if they're at war against us and we're not war against them, they're winning. So I think you might remember that when Donald Trump criticized NATO, all the emphasis was on the money they don't contribute. One of the things he said is NATO has not put together an anti-terrorism force. Within 2 months, they did. And it isn't quite what it should be. I think Donald Trump will make that force a much bigger force. I know all throughout the campaign he would talk about that. In many ways, he's been prophetic about the fact that Europe has not paid enough attention to terrorism.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that. Now, you know, I think the numbers are somewhere around 1.4 million refugees have gone to Europe. 750,000
There's another place where he was right.
In Germany alone.
There's another place where he was right and Angela Merkel was wrong, and of course the whole world criticized him, and he turned out to be absolutely right.
Trudge had a big picture on his headline today with Angela Merkel with blood on her hands. What did she do wrong? What lessons can we learn in America that she has, or mistakes she's making now?
Well, you don't let large numbers of people in from a part of the world where there's a tremendous amount of terrorism. It's just common sense. Here's a hotbed of terrorism. Here's a hotbed of people who are planning to come and kill you in your own country. To make it easier, they even warn you that they're going to do that, because Baghdadi said, I'm going to slip in terrorists with the refugee. He told us. We didn't even have to think about it, and we let him in anyway. So, as Donald Trump used to say before he became president-elect, he was stupid. I mean, it was just stupid.
Mr. Mayor, the Germans, they initially had a guy that they thought was the terrorist, and turns out it wasn't the terrorist, because they have some rule that you can't keep someone more than a day. Right. Unless you have probable cause to keep them. Are they too politically correct?
Well, see, probable cause is a criminal concept. It comes out of, I mean, in America it would be the Fourth Amendment probable cause for arrest. We're at war. You don't need probable cause to hold somebody during a war. Suspicion is good enough during a war. So they're playing by war rules, and the Obama administration has us playing by criminal justice rules. Well, we're going to lose that, and we are losing it. That's why we've had so many attacks in the last year. You just add them up: San Bernardino, Orlando, Nice, Paris, Germany a couple of times, the priest who had his head chopped off. I mean, I can go on and on.
Mr. Mayor, how do you extreme vet someone when you don't know what their past is? A lot of these people coming over, they have no past. There's no school records. There's no criminal records. There's no work records. They're coming over saying, hey, I'm here, help me out.
When you come from a certain part of the world, like Syria, let's make it really simple, the burden has to be on you to prove that you're safe. The burden can't be on me to prove that you're not. This isn't a trial. This isn't a criminal proceeding, and you have no right to come to the United States. The United States Constitution doesn't give anyone in this world the right to come to the United States. That's a privilege that we extend to you. So we have a right to condition that privilege on things that inure to our safety rather than to create a dangerous situation for the world. So if you can't get the information, person doesn't come in. Extreme vetting means you search the documents, you're sure they're safe, you let them in. If you can't find a record of safety, you don't let them in.
Why don't they just go to Mexico? Why don't they just find their way through South America straight up to our border?
Well, unfortunately, some of them do. And that's the reason why the wall has to be built and the extra protection has to be put there, including the electronic surveillance. The wall by itself is going to need electronic surveillance below ground and above ground, more border patrol. That's the reason we have to do these things. Everything Donald Trump ran on is actually happening. NATO has to increase its emphasis on terrorism. It's got to modernize and increase its emphasis on terrorism. And we should build a safe zone in Syria and keep those people in Syria.
Are they here, Mr. Mayor? Are the terrorists here? In other words, if they've had such an easy go, either through the border or through the refugee system, are they just waiting and waiting? And what can Donald Trump do with the ones that have already come over here?
Well, if Jim Comey is right, to talk about a different subject for Jim Comey, which is the number of terrorist investigations in the U.S., about 4 or 5 months ago, he said there were 1,000. That's a lot of investigations. I mean, I spent 17 years in the Justice Department. 1,000 investigations is a lot of investigations. I think he has got to sit down and figure out what are the rules of engagement here. Are we going to play this like this is one crime after another, after another, after another? Or are we going to wake up and realize this is a war? If somebody, God forbid, in the name of jihadism bombs an American city, to me that person's a prisoner of war. That person is not a person who's going to be indicted under the criminal justice system.
Meanwhile, we're letting go. President Obama announced he's going to let go some more Gitmo terrorists. Let me ask you this. Put a number on this. After 9/11, you were there. We hardened a lot of our targets. Give us a scale of 1 to 10. How safe were we in September 2002? Just give me a 1 to 10 number.
7.
Where are we now?
6, 5.
So we're worse off than we were.
No. We are definitely worse off than we were before September 11. Just by the nature of the groups that we're facing, we were facing one large group, Al Qaeda, located largely in a few places where we could find them and put them on the run. Well, just look at between September 11 and Fort Hood, there was no domestic Islamic terrorist attack. Under Obama, when we decided we weren't at war anymore, but they didn't decide they weren't at war anymore, we've had, look what we've had in the last year.
6-5.
Yeah.
All right, we'll leave it right there. Maybe on a happier note.
I wish Trump were in the White House right now. I think the response would be quick, swift, and he'd quickly turn it around to our being at war against them and using different rules.
Well, he's already used the term Islamic terror, something we haven't heard from the White House in 8 years. Thank you.